Apparently Stephen A. Smith, First Take, Big Perk, all together came on today and gave huge compliments towards Caitlin Clark, huge praise. And not only there, they were on Twitter as well, giving love to Caitlin Clark, and people seem to not like it, man.
But she's Caitlin Clark. She put on a show in her old stomping grounds in Iowa versus Brazil.
Stephen A. Smith just exploded like your uncle at Thanksgiving dinner, but this time, it wasn't about LeBron or the Cowboys. Nope. It was all about Caitlin Clark possibly snatching that MVP crown as a rookie. Yep, Stephen A. went full Shakespeare meets ESPN, ranting, raving, and probably sweating through his suit while making the wildest, most entertaining case ever. Buckle up, because if Caitlin's not your MVP yet, Stephen A. might just yell you into agreement.
Expectations for Caitlin Clark this season.
Man, Stephen A., she is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially MVP-type conversation things.
Stephen A. Smith is many things. Loud, passionate, allergic to silence, but subtle is not one of them. When he bursts into a monologue, it's less of a conversation and more of an auditory earthquake. And this time, the earthquake's epicenter? Caitlin Clark. Yes, the WNBA's newest walking bucket, logo sniper, and part-time destroyer of egos has managed to get Mr. Volume Level 100 himself to combust into verbal fireworks explaining why she might just be the MVP this season.
Including this three-pointer that was deeper than the three she hit when she broke the all-time NCAA score record. Big Perk, what are your expectations for Caitlin Clark this season?
Man, Stephen A., she is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially MVP-type conversation things. Like, I think she's ready. She know it's her second year. She know what type of physicality is going to take. Look like she's always in great shape, never afraid of the moment. Again, we're talking about Caitlin Clark here. The spotlight been on her for years. She's not going to shy away from it. I expect her to be in the MVP conversation.
Well, let's remember this. Last year, in her rookie campaign, it was immediately after she had gone to the national championship game in the NCAA tournament, and then less than 2 months later, she's got a WNBA season where she started and played all 40 games, finished as a unanimous Rookie of the Year, all WNBA first team, finished fourth in league MVP voting, and then I'm looking at the regular season leading all.
Now, let's be honest. Stephen A. doesn't just talk. No, this man performs. He doesn't sit down to discuss basketball. He takes the table hostage, yells rhetorical questions at the furniture, and throws logic around like confetti. And when Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA and started casually pulling up from the zip code next door, you just knew it was only a matter of time before Smith launched into a full-scale theatrical production about her. And boy, did he deliver.
Leading all rookies in scoring, field goals made, three-point field goals made, assists, steals, and minutes. She's the real deal. Make no mistake about it.
In a glorious, caffeinated explosion of syllables, finger jabs, and questionable analogies, Stephen A. declared what we all already knew, but were too scared to say out loud. Caitlin Clark might just be that girl. MVP level that. The kind of give me the damn ball and get out of the way player who makes seasoned defenders question their life choices and front offices regret every draft pick before her.
What does she mean to women's sports?
I just think that she's elevating the profile of women's sports in a way that most women should deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate. She's a phenomenal player. She's a phenomenal shooter. I call her the Steph Curry of women's basketball. I've been calling her that since last year.
And yet, there he was, breaking it down like a man possessed by the basketball gods. You could practically hear the ESPN cameras flinch when he lunged into his hot take with the grace of a rhino doing ballet. Somewhere between she's a superstar and it's not just the points, he probably scared a few producers and shattered a microphone. But the message? Crystal clear. Caitlin Clark is here, she's draining logo threes like they're layups, and she's making defenders look like they're moving in slow motion through peanut butter. That's not an exaggeration. That's just Caitlin Clark's Tuesday. Now, this isn't to say Stephen A. had a sudden epiphany, Let's not pretend the man hasn't been on the Caitlin Clark hype train longer than most of us have known the WNBA, had a 4-point arc in our dreams. He's been championing her like she's the second coming of Steph Curry, with a splash of Diana Taurasi's competitive rage and Sue Bird's court vision, only with better TikTok angles.
You want to promote the sport. You put that girl up in there, and people were appalled at that notion. That was
Stephen
the
A.,
subject.
But here's where things really took a turn for the dramatic. Smith didn't just casually toss out the idea that Caitlin Clark could be MVP. No, he made it crystal clear that she should be MVP right now. As in, why are we even bothering with the usual MVP conversation when we've got a bona fide superstar doing this to professional athletes? It wasn't just a suggestion, it was a proclamation. A bold declaration that echoed through the airwaves with the kind of authority you'd expect from someone who's watched every sport in existence and knows what greatness looks like. Smith's words practically snapped the conversation into another dimension, as if to say, forget waiting. Look at what's happening here. The implication was crystal clear. Caitlin Clark didn't show up to merely compete. She showed up to take over. She came to reshape the game, to force people to rethink what it means to dominate at this level. Suddenly, the MVP debate wasn't some abstract, questionable thought for sports nerds. It became a full-blown televised manifesto. It was as if millions of screens were suddenly illuminated with the kind of fiery passion usually reserved for playoff games and political showdowns.
What's crazy is you had Monica McNutt, Andrea, Shanae, all on the panel right before the game, and they had a graphic, an interesting graphic that popped up showing that Caitlin Clark had the best odds to win the MVP this year.
But why stop at MVP? Honestly, that might be underselling it. Let's take a moment to truly absorb the sheer absurdity that is Caitlin Clark's rookie season. This isn't just a promising start. It's a statistical fever dream that has data analysts rocking back and forth in a corner, mumbling about efficiency ratings and true shooting percentages. She's putting up points like she's farming VC in a video game, dishing out assists with the precision of a surgeon, and grabbing rebounds like she's got magnets in her hands. And let's not forget the broken ankles. So many defenders now have lifetime appointments with physical therapy thanks to her crossover. She's playing the game like she's got cheat codes enabled, pulling up from the parking lot like it's her birthright. Her range? Disrespectful. Her composure under pressure? Surgical. You'd think she was built in a top-secret government facility designed to create the perfect basketball player. Equal parts Steph Curry, Diana Taurasi, and cold-blooded killer. We're witnessing the kind of rookie campaign that rewrites the rules and torches expectations.
So let's start with our 2025 WNBA MVP, and that has to go to the one and only Caitlin Clark. You can say I'm glazing, you can say I'm hyping her up too much, but I truly think that this second year for Caitlin Clark is going to be like nothing we have ever seen.
Caitlin Clark isn't just a rising star. She's the kind of force that makes you wonder if the WNBA secretly decided to drop a generational cheat code into the league just to shake things up. She's redefining what a rookie should look like. Most rookies are supposed to struggle a little, maybe get lost in a few defensive rotations, perhaps get sent to the bench after a brutal 2-for-11 shooting night, but Caitlin? No. She shows up, drops 30, hits a buzzer beater, and proceeds to sign autographs for crying children while simultaneously wrecking defensive schemes designed by grown adults with mortgages. Stephen A. saw this and did what Stephen A. does. He exploded. But let's not forget the real genius behind this moment. It wasn't just that he was praising her, it was how he praised her, with the force of a man trying to simultaneously win a debate, cook a Thanksgiving dinner, and conduct a gospel choir about 3 octaves above sane volume. At one point, you could swear he was about to levitate.
You got a girl here who's box office in Caitlin Clark. She is box office. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is Caitlin Clark is box office. And we got to get that out the way. And I'll get into all of that a little bit more in just a second because it's very, very important that we point this out. She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. It's what she does.
And then, of course, came the inevitable comparisons. Because let's face it, Stephen A. Smith can't go 5 minutes without dragging in some legendary name, like it's a reflex he can't control. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan. the holy trinity of basketball references. Stephen A. flew through them like he was speed running through NBA 2K My Team cards, trying to get that perfect lineup. He wasn't missing a beat. You could almost hear him mentally counting the stars as he rattled off the names of basketball icons from every era. But here's the thing. Caitlin Clark didn't need any of that. She wasn't looking to fit into someone else's mold or legacy. She didn't need to be the next Magic or the next Bird. Caitlin wasn't trying to live up to some mythical standard. She's not the next anybody. No, she's the first Caitlin Clark, and that's more than enough. She's carving out her own path, 1 3-minute at a time, rewriting the game for herself. The comparisons? They're nice, but they're not her story. She's creating her own. And frankly, that's way more exciting.
Still talking about her. And who's to say they ain't gonna lose again and not win a championship? We're still talking about her. Remember, when Bird and Magic, as phenomenal as they were, the champions that they were, there came a point where despite the greatness of them as individuals and the greatness of their teams collectively with the Hall of Famers they were playing with, we were still talking about Jordan. Before he won the title, Tim, am I lying? Wendy, am I lying? We were talking about him. When's his time? Because we were clamoring for it. And I'm telling you, that's what people, when it comes to women's basketball, are going to be doing with Caitlin Clark, especially.
And while Stephen A. might have been verbally steamrolling his co-hosts and ramming every sports cliche into his declaration of Caitlin's greatness, there was truth buried beneath all that drama. Real truth. Clark isn't just a scorer. She's a floor general, a playmaker, a shot creator, a crowd magnet, and a stat-padding unicorn all wrapped in a headband and fire. Now, it wouldn't be a Stephen A. rant without some unhinged metaphors. 1 second, he's comparing her range to missile systems. The next, he's talking about how defenders look like they've stepped into a Caitlin Clark horror movie. And let's face it, he's not wrong. Watching Caitlin Clark play defense on a fast break is like watching someone defuse a bomb with 0.8 seconds left. She's everywhere and nowhere. Blink, and she's already 3 moves ahead of you. By the time defenders realize she's got the ball, she's already posted the highlight clip. And yes, the MVP conversation does require a bit more than just razzle-dazzle. Consistency, leadership, and impact on team success, yada, yada, yada.
This girl is a superstar. I've been saying it for years. I keep telling everybody she's the Steph Curry of women's basketball, college or pro. She is a superstar.
But Caitlin's checked those boxes and triple underlined them. Her team wins more with her. Opponents build game plans around stopping her. Networks change their schedules for her. She's not just a player, she's an economy. And let's not forget ticket sales. The WNBA hasn't seen this kind of buzz since Lisa Leslie was dunking in slow motion and people thought that was the peak. With Caitlin in town, you need 2 security guards and a small miracle just to breathe in her general direction. Of course, the skeptics come crawling out of the woodwork like cockroaches at the sight of success. But she's a rookie, they whined. She hasn't earned it yet, they mutter while clutching their autographed bobbleheads from 1998. And to that, Stephen A. gave the verbal equivalent of a napalm strike. MVPs aren't about age, they're about impact. And Caitlin Clark is leaving a crater.
Last year, and to speak to her, to be around her, she's got charisma, she's got style, she's got bravado, she's got class, she's smart as hell. Communicates her thoughts very, very well. She is so incredibly marketable that what she is doing on the collegiate level, her coming into the WNBA, you could just feel, I don't want to use the word resentment at all because it's not fair to women basketball players out there who may have critiqued her. But what I'm saying is that when you're talking about her greatness, it is perfectly okay for those who have been great to say, okay, let's see what you've got.
This season, MVP might as well be an acronym for Most Valuable Problem, because that's what she is for every opposing coach. They lose sleep, age prematurely, and invent defensive strategies on the spot that still end with her draining a 30-foot high with the smile of someone who knows they own the arena. Stephen A. didn't just go off. He detonated. The man was out here screaming like Caitlin personally dunked on his taxes, but behind every burst of dramatic over-enunciation, there was admiration. Caitlin Clark is doing something special, and even a professional shoutmesher like Smith couldn't contain it. And let's talk about the vibes. You know, the aura. The Caitlin Clark effect. Suddenly, every road game is sold out. ESPN's cameramen are on a first-name basis with the fans because they're covering every single Clark warm-up routine like it's the Super Bowl halftime show. Posing players? They're switching assignments mid-game just to avoid ending up in a meme?
I love this woman. I really do. I love this young lady. I had the pleasure of doing an event with her, during Iowa's homecoming, because my man Mark Shapiro for WNBA took me down there, and we were a panelist. 10,000 people showed up. It was absolutely phenomenal. This girl is the best in the world.
Meanwhile, back on ESPN, Stephen A. Smith is having what can only be described as a full-blown religious experience. His voice is ascending to a frequency that can only be compared to a choir of angels. If the angels were on a serious caffeine buzz and had just seen the most jaw-dropping play of their celestial existence, the man is speaking with the kind of passion that could move mountains, or at least send your TV into a brief panic mode, as his pitch hits levels not legally approved for daytime television. You can practically hear Molly Quarim shifting nervously in her seat, adjusting her earpiece, as if she's trying to escape the sonic boom of Stephen A.'s fervor. Somewhere in the studio, a coffee mug spontaneously combusts from the sheer intensity. But here's the thing, his message is loud and clear. If you watch basketball, if you understand the game, if you truly believe in those rare, magical moments that make the sport legendary, then Caitlin Clark's name should be printed in all caps on your MVP ballot. This isn't just an endorsement, it's a sermon. And brother, this sermon is on fire.
Caitlin Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player.
This isn't a fluke. This isn't hype. This is a player changing the temperature of the league. WNBA Twitter is on fire. Fans are arguing stats like they're fighting for custody, and highlight reels of Caitlin casually disrespecting defenders are replacing therapy for several teams. And yet, through it all, Caitlin Clark just keeps doing what she does, scoring like it's a bodily function, smiling like she hasn't just murdered your playoff hopes, and somehow still finding time to drop 10 assists because why not? She doesn't ask for flowers, she drops 35 and lets the bouquets arrive in the mail. Stephen A. just happened to deliver his in the form of a passionate TED Talk that somehow involved more yelling than most car crashes. And look, the MVP race is crowded. There are legends still cooking. Aja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and others still exist. But what Caitlin is doing, it's seismic. It's Rookie of the Year, MVP, All-Star, Slam Poet, and Pyrotechnician all rolled into one.
Because when she came into the WNBA, for 22 plus years, they had been flying commercial. They were begging for chartered flights. She arrives there, and 2 weeks later, they got chartered flights. She automatically and instantaneously improved the conditions. Attendance is still lagging. WNBA is still losing money compared to what you would hope it would earn, but clearly things are on an upward trending trajectory. It's improving, and she has everything to do with it. Attendance for Indiana Fever games? Are you kidding me? WNBA draft, games on ABC, ESPN, television ratings. She's directly responsible.
Stephen A. may have sounded like he was trying to summon Zeus with every syllable, but he wasn't wrong. Caitlin Clark is the real deal. And if you've got a problem with that, well, prepare to be outshined by a rookie whose idea of a casual game involves bending the space-time continuum. So as the season rolls on, and the debates rage, and Stephen A. continues to shatter the sound barrier, remember this, the MVP trophy isn't just about legacy. It's about now. And right now, Caitlin Clark is the gravitational center of the WNBA universe. And if you still don't believe it, just wait until the next time she pulls up from half court, winks at the camera, and casually dismantles your argument with a smile. Because if Stephen A. Smith, human foghorn, lord of hot takes, mayor of max volume, can set aside his dramatic flair long enough to admit Caitlin Clark might just be the then yeah, she probably already is.